Hey everyone. Today I wanted to teach you guys an acupressure technique that I use for tension headaches. I don't know about you, but I've been a little stressed. I have to say, the continuing health crisis with the coronavirus. It's summertime, so my kids aren't in school, but their normal activities are either canceled or they're modified so much that it feels just like a really fragile time for everyone. And I know that my stress level is really high, and I tend to run hot anyway. I'm extremely sensitive to change, um, and honestly, it doesn't take much to trigger my anxiety sometimes. So, unfortunately, one of the byproducts of that when I'm feeling anxious is I am more susceptible to tension headaches. And they can be very debilitating. I can sometimes feel like the most I can do is lie down in a cool room. But with kids being home and needing to work, that's not always an option. So I'm sure you feel the same way. You can't necessarily just lie down and wait for it to pass. But my background as a massage therapist, and specifically I got a certification in acupressure, I have some tools that I use that are really effective for when I am suffering from a tension headache and that pain is kind of at an all-time high. I use these techniques and it helps reduce the pain. And in some cases, it helps get rid of the headache altogether. So I'm going to share that with you guys today. It is an acupressure face massage, and it is really beneficial for getting rid of tension headaches or migraines. I worked with clients for several years who suffered from debilitating migraines, and this acupressure facial massage technique was effective for them too. So regardless of what kind of headache you're suffering, this should be able to help you get some relief. So let's get started. I am going to take off my glasses because I'm going to be touching all around my face. So hi, this is me without glasses. But I am going to include a link to a diagram of these acupressure points that I'm going to go through. So be sure to click below. You can then download it, print it out, and you can practice for yourself the next time you have a headache. But let's get started. So the first thing I do is I make sure that my hands are clean, especially now during the coronavirus. You don't want any germs kind of getting into your orifices and wreaking havoc. So make sure that you've washed your hands. I have washed my hands already in preparation, so I'm good to go. The first one you're going to do is in your eyebrows. So it's at the corner of the eyebrows, kind of where the nose, the two edges of the nose. And what you do is you just start at that corner of the eyebrow, and you want to push up into that space. Now, the thing about acupressure is you may have to feel around a little bit, but when you find an acupressure point, there is either kind of a little indentation where you're like, oh, this is like a little, not a dent necessarily, but a little just like a little alcove or a little dip in the skull that you can kind of feel. But when you put pressure up, you'll feel almost like a tenderness to the skin, and that is your kind of body's clue that you have found the acupressure point. So you kind of, and if you're looking in a mirror, it's right at the bottom of that eyebrow edge, and you just push up. Now you can give direct pressure where it's just static, or if you're like me, I like to do little circles, and you just do that 20 seconds. And give it a good pressure. A good rule of pressure is you don't want it to hurt. So you would never go over, if you were doing like a 1 to 10 pain scale, you would never go over like a 7 with this type of massage. But like I said, if you found the acupressure point, chances are you're going to have a little bit of tenderness. Tenderness is fine. But the rule of thumb is just to give firm pressure without pain. So you do that 20, 30 seconds, then you move on to point number 2, which is right kind of in the center of your eyebrow. Again, when I first started learning this technique, I would do it in front of a mirror. Now I can just do it wherever because I know where to find them. But work with a mirror, go right in the kind of midline of your eyebrow and push up. And again, if you're sassy like me, do your circles. I don't have a headache right now, but already it feels good. And then the last one on the eyebrow line is right below. So you're gonna go, so here's where my eyebrow ends. You go almost like half an inch and you'll feel a little divot. Do the other side. Like I said, little just indentation there and pressure in. It's not quite your temples. So as you can see, your temples are more here. It's more at the top of the cheekbone, where the cheekbone begins, and just give a little pressure there. Again, 20 to 30 seconds each point. You can do it longer if it feels good and it feels like it's relieving some pressure, but at least do 20 to 30 seconds. And then for the temple area, I like to do my first 2 fingers and just massage in there, just for the temples. Good. Now, from there, we're going to work the nose, cheekbone, and kind of jaw area. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our nose point, and then we'll work out. Okay, so the nose point, it's not, you kind of come down and it's right above kind of the nostril flare. And again, because our faces are all different, you'll want to kind of feel around. But again, I feel just a little bit of indentation, and then when I press up, it's like, ooh, little tender. So it's right above that nostril flare. And it's not, you're not pushing into the nose. Like, you don't want to feel like you're making yourself really nasally like this. You will almost want to kind of pull it out. Like, so the fingertips are pressing up and out a little bit. Yeah, that feels good. And if you're like me and you're suffering from allergies, which, oh my God, let's talk about allergies next time. My allergies have been really kicking. What's nice about this little pressure point is when you start to massage it, you can kind of help your sinuses drain a little bit. So that's like an added benefit. And, you know, when your sinuses are impacted, they're going to make that tension headache or migraine worse. So this is helpful. The next one, so after you've done that one, you kind of come, and this is where a mirror is helpful. It's right in the kind of apple-y part of your cheekbone. And I like to just I start with light pressures until I can kind of feel that indentation there. And then I do my firm pressure. And I, again, still doing those circles. I love the circles. And then from here, the next point is actually in line with this point. You go down, right? So now you're starting to feel where the bottom of your cheekbone, so where the cheekbone kind of curves under, you're pressing up, right? And I like to, so now I'm switching from my pointer finger to my thumbs. You press up with those thumbs. And this one, yeah, I found it on the left side. I gotta feel a little bit on my right. There we go. Again, little bit, you'll kind of have to feel around to find that point, but you'll feel a little tenderness and like a whoo burst of energy when you find it. And you just keep pressing up and you can circle. Okay. So then from here, we're going to work on the sides of the face. Okay. So the side of the face, we have kind of our jaw hinge and then the jaw itself. So from here, you want to find your jaw hinge, and you're going to take these 3 fingers and you're just going to press it here. Open your mouth. And when you open your mouth, you'll feel a little bit of space open up. A little bit of space open up. Let me take my hair behind so here, my fingers are here. I open up. That little space is the acupressure point you're going to go to. So this one, I use my middle finger. I'm not going to flip you off because I'm a lady. But you take your middle finger and then apply some pressure. Oh, it feels so good. And now I'm not doing the full 20-30 seconds. So, because I'm Speedy Gonzalez here. But if I were doing this in the middle of a headache, I would do at least that. But then from there, we've got 2 more points on the face, and then we're going to do the back of the head, and you'll be good to go. The next one is with the lips. So the first one is going to be above the lip. I go back to my pointer finger, and it's right in between the nose and the mouth, right in the center there. And again, you might have to, this one, I kind of move it back and forth to find until I find my spot. And then once I found it, I do my little circle. And then my next one is below that. So below the lips, but before you get to your chin. So it's like some of us have a little crease here. So it's right in that crease. And I keep my mouth open a little bit. I don't know why, but it's a little, when your mouth is relaxed, it's a little easier to find. So I open my mouth a little bit, and then I circle. So I just keep my mouth open and circle. Another technique, if you're having trouble finding that point, you're like, I don't quite think I'm getting it, is to go back to your thumb here. Press right in the center, right at that crease, and press up into the face. And you can find it that way. So sometimes the thumb's a little easier to work with. And then our final point is on the back of the head. The back of the head is a hot spot of tenderness. I'm going to put my glasses on. So I can see, but the back of the head, where the skull meets the neck, is called your suboccipital area. This is an extremely tender spot. When you find it, you will know right away, because you'll be like, ooh, that's a little painful. But unfortunately, those muscles back there are very tiny. It doesn't take much to strain them, and they can be the trigger for your headache. Now, unfortunately, our society and the way we have kind of geared our life over living on the phone, I'm going to turn this way. We tend to do this with our heads, and we are overstraining these muscles, right? So we are just a headache waiting to happen. And that's why I say this can be the cause of your headache, are these muscles back here. I work with my thumbs when I want to massage them. And an easy way to find them is you go, I'm going to turn around actually, so you can see me, is you go down. You're going to have to feel around kind of the ridge area of your skull. And there's a few spots you're going to find where you just start massaging with your firm circles with the thumbs until you find the indentations. And again, we're going skull to neck. So find kind of that bottom of the skull area, the ridge of the skull, and work up. Now there's three little areas I like to hit. There's kind of the outer here, and then up, and then in. Now, when you're looking at the neck area, you can kind of see the right in the center of the neck here on either side is where you draw up with the fingers, and that's going to be your first little spot. But play around with it. Like I said, there's muscles back there, and so it really doesn't matter if you get necessarily the exact acupressure spot back there, because as long as you're massaging those muscles, you're going to help release that tension, and you'll help release that any tension back there that's contributing to a headache. So yeah, it's that easy. But that's it. So if I were performing this on myself, usually it'll take about 10 to 15 minutes, which when you're in the middle of a headache, can sound like a long time to be in pain. But honestly, when I take oral pain medicine for my headache, it takes about that long anyway for it to start kicking in. So, it's going to take time to get relief, but if you practice this and you start to learn the points and you get really diligent about knowing where things are and how to move it through, you can get relief really quickly. The other benefit of this acupressure face massage, when they taught it to me in massage school, they were like, oh, it also has this added benefit. It's considered an anti-aging massage because it helps increase the blood circulation to the face. It helps kind of slow the aging process. So that's kind of a little happy perk of performing this kind of technique. But that's it. That's all I got. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at hello@thewellnessgarage.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about this technique. Like I said, look in the description. I will have some links that will include instructions and a diagram of the face where you can find the pressure points, because until you've practiced it a few times, it can be like, I don't quite remember what she said or where to find this. And the diagram is really helpful. And that's it. That's all I got for this time. Catch me back here next time for more health and wellness tips. Bye.